Hi everybody, welcome back to Planet Arizona Comics, where the temperature is still hot despite it being October, but the comic books are still hotter. Now today is usually the day where I do our weekly comic book haul from our new comics from the week, but we only have about 4 or 5 books, a couple of small pickups, nothing really that warrants an entire video. So instead of that, I'm going to do, as you can see, the top 10 comic book covers from my collection, plus one. You know, some people do top 10s, some people do top 5s. D-Runk did a top 5 covers list. I'm like, are you kidding me? I could barely nail this down to 10. Plus one. But I could do it. I had to add another one. So let's get into my top 10 covers. First up is Detective Comics number 569. To me, this is just a quintessential comic book cover. It's Batman, it's the Joker. Well, first off, it's Detective Comics number 569. It's a great cover by Alan Davis and Paul Neary, a great combo. If someone who had never seen a comic book before came to me and asked me to show them a comic book, I would show them this book. This is as comic bookish as comic books get. It's Batman, it's the Joker, it's Robin the boy hostage, it's the decision Batman has to make between saving Robin or saving Catwoman. It's got the flying Joker cards all over the cover. I think this is a very undervalued and overlooked cover, and it's one of my favorites. Didn't make the top 10, but I didn't want to do the video without it. So we'll get into the top 10 right now with another overlooked cover that I don't think a lot of people know about. I like simplistic covers. I don't need a whole lot. What I like about this is the artistry. The issue itself is called Clashing Symbols. I think it's got great action. I think it's got a gorgeous background with the orange and the white star, and these two Americans who couldn't be more ideologically opposite than Captain America and Super Patriot, who in a few issues after this goes on to replace him after Roger steps down. Got a chance to meet Mike Zeck, the cover artist, and talk to him about it, and he was very gracious with his time. Lovely man to talk to, soft-spoken. Can't say enough good things about this cover. I just love it. Now, while I like simplistic covers, you can't have a top 10 covers list without having a cover by George Perez. And this, to me, is George Perez doing what he does best. No one, absolutely no one, puts more characters on a cover without losing detail than George Perez. I love the Gauntlet front and center. I love the lines. I love the spacing and all the different characters in these different squares. Again, got him to sign it. Another lovely man to talk to. This is a modern classic in my opinion. Not a usual X-Men comic cover you would see on a top 10 list, but I keep coming back to this every time I think of great covers. This is X-Men 251. This is a great Mark Silvestri, longtime ex-inker Dan Green comic cover. I love the purple, I love the shadowing, I love the crucifixion, I love the skulls on the bottom, I love the little buzzard overhead. It just screams death. And to me, this is one of my favorite X-Men covers. I showed this on a video a couple weeks ago, and this is kind of what got the ball rolling for this video. Kind of going in my head, going through my favorite covers and saying this and thinking that, and looking at all my Justice Society run with from this series and the one before it with the Alex Ross portrait covers. And to me, this is my favorite. I love the this kind of noirish in color cover. It's kind of pulpy. It's got that bold black with the gold standing out in the corner and the smoke rising, and I love the hat, I love the mask. No one does a portrait like Alex Ross, and I hope one day to have a chance to meet him so I can tell him how much I enjoy his work. So here is another cover you normally don't see from X-Men on top covers list, favorite covers list. If you grew up like me in the 80s, you remember those brown grocery store bags we used to have to put on all our textbooks to cover them up. I would draw this image on every single textbook cover in particularly boring classes. I grew up in the 80s, like I said, and so getting into X-Men, John Romita Jr. was always my X-Men artist. I had worked back and discovered John Byrne and Jim Steranko and Neil Adams, Paul Smith even before that, even before John Romita, who's a highly overlooked, underrated X-Men artist. But I love this cover because what it means to me. It's Wolverine at his Wolverine-iest. It's I love the slashing claws. I love the red. This brings me back to collecting in the 80s, and it's why I love it. Number 5, Incredible Hulk 344. Todd McFarlane. I worship at the altar of Todd McFarlane. Growing up in the 80s, there wasn't an artist who got me more excited to buy a comic book than seeing Todd McFarlane doing the art. And to me, this book, this cover in general, is Todd McFarlane's coming out party. He did art on this series from issue 330, I believe, and this is issue 344. He only started doing covers on this at issue 340, that great Wolverine cover. But to me, artistically, this is a better cover. You can almost see how cold it is from the trees blowing and the tattered clothing blowing, the full moon, the Hulk jumping right in the middle of it. I just think this is Todd McFarlane at his best. Number 4. Like I said, I love simplistic covers. Just give me a head and a gun against a yellow background, and I'm gonna like it. You know, this cover to me screams early 1980s Dirty Harry influence. Daredevil 184. It's towards the end of the Frank Miller run. I love the grit. You can see the frustration, the desperation in his face. You could see the gun front and center. Like I said, I love simplistic covers, and I think this is one of my favorites. All right, number 3. We all know it. We all love it. Thor number 337. This is the first appearance of Beta Ray Bill. I love first appearance covers. Beta Ray Bill on the cover. I love the action. I love the perspective. I love the smashed title cover. It's Walt Simonson. It's classic. Not enough good things to say about it. I love it. Let's move on to number 2. It's very hard for me to keep this book out of the number 1 spot, but I'll explain that in a minute. Does it get any better than this if you're a Batman fan, if you're a Joker fan? Is there a better Bronze Age cover? Is there a better Joker cover? Always debatable. Maybe Hulk 181 for Bronze Age cover, maybe House of Secrets 92 for Bronze Age cover. I'm sure there's some golden age Joker covers which are in the running. But when I think Batman, when I think Neil Adams, when I think Joker, I love the old style Batman logo. I love the towering Joker. I love the card cover. Does it get any better? Hard to keep it out of the number 1 spot, but I have to, because like I mentioned a couple spots ago, I worship at the altar of Todd McFarlane. Spider-Man's my favorite character. Venom's his current archenemy, number one archenemy. I love the purple. I love the Venom, just bold, the big bold black standing out against the purple. I love the defeated Spider-Man. I love the blood on the hand. Like I said, Todd McFarlane is my favorite artist. Is this his only Venom cover? I think it is. He did 315 before. It's like his head on the cover. 317 is not on it. I don't think he did anything before 328. That really great Spider-Man Hulk cover. But anyway, this is, after going through and really taking a lot more work than I thought, this has to be my favorite comic book cover ever. So let me know what you think. What did you like? What did you not like? What books would you put on? What books would you put off? Thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you next time.